Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LOBoratory. This is Holly Chantal, the president of the Land of Brand, and your lead Mad Brand scientist for the Land of Brand Laboratory, or as I like to call it, the LOBoratory for short. We meet every second and fourth Wednesday, 12 o'clock Eastern time, if you've never joined us before. And I discuss different topics in building your brand. So different experiments, different things that we're trying, things that I know that work, things that have not worked. So we share both sides of the coin, successes as well as failures, so that we can all learn from each other. And if you have questions, you can ask them in the chat if you're live. You can also ask them in the comments if you're watching this after the fact. And this is a free community. So you can sign up at thelandofbrand.com, click on free webinars, and I'll send you reminders every single week. And last week, actually, before we get going, if for some reason you cannot see my slides, please type in the chat and let me know, because right before I clicked broadcast, my screen's all flickered and I wasn't really sure which desktop's being recorded, and I'm really hoping it's the slides and not all the windows I have opened up on my laptop, because I have two monitors. So anyway, today we are going to be talking about how to finish 2016 with some sparkles, some pizzazz, some pep in your step, aka the fine art of project picking, which is much different than picking your nose. So what we're going to talk about today is how to revisit your goals. Thank you, RJ, says that I can see the slides. Good. So we're going to talk about what were your goals again, getting your groove back on, and then the fine art of project picking. So goals, schmoles, I should say schmoles, not shoals. So do you remember January, that month that was like 9 months ago, where you set all these wonderful goals for, what you were going to do in 2016? How many of those are you actually on track for? Now's the time to, we're getting into Q4. Now is the time to kind of sit down and look at the year in review. Don't wait until the end of the year, because you still have 3 months to get a lot of those things done. So what I want you to do is look back at what was the vision that you had for 2016. What was it that you wanted to create? What numbers did you want to hit for sales, for marketing? How many people are in your newsletter? How many times you were speaking this year? What about other things? What products did you want to launch? What initiatives did you want to create in your business? Was there also, life business balance things that you wanted to accomplish? When you go back to what that original vision was, you may have found that you've either, most of the time you end up maybe shifting directions throughout the year. This is actually why I don't really like to set quote unquote year-long goals. I'll kind of set a vision for the trajectory I want this year to take, kind of like the theme of the year. But I set my goals every 3 months, because I know that my business and my life changes throughout the year. It's not like I can just set, this is what everything's going to look like for the next year. It's all going to work out perfectly. Probably not going to happen. So look back at what your theme was, or what it was you wanted to do. And let's look at where you're at. So the good, the bad, and the ugly. What numbers and what goals have you hit? What have you not? What has completely blown up in your face? And take a real life objective assessment at what needs to be done in order for you to finish out 2016 and feel like this was a successful year. Feel accomplished, feel like 2017 is going to rock your socks even harder. And what are the goals that you need to hit for the next 3 months? And what we're going to do is, when we look at the good, bad, and the ugly, it's good to get an assessment of where you are, but don't get hung up on the bad and the ugly. It's more so just so that you can assess, what is still left, what still needs to be done, what is realistic. Because oftentimes we set these really pie in the sky goals because we don't know what is realistic. And then throughout the year, as we start actually implementing our plan, we realize, you know, some of these things might not work out quite how you thought. You know, there's life throws you whammies sometimes, and there's going to be things that change. So how do you get your groove back on? So right now we're coming into September. September is one of my favorite months. It's back to school month. I don't have kids that are in school. I'm not in school. But for some reason, there's still that feeling of new beginnings, just like January. January I find very fun because it feels like it's a fresh start, it's a new beginning. For some reason, September feels like that to me too. Maybe it does for you as well. Either way, you are coming back from the summer, the lazy days of summer. You know, don't accuse anyone of being lazy. I, for one, worked my butt off this summer. But it's still a completely different feeling than as you get into fall, toward the end of the year. There's a lot of excitement and a lot of, you know, a lot of momentum gets started as we turn our attention away from the beautiful sun and start, you know, getting back into the groove of real life. So if you have kids, if you don't have kids, whatever, chances are you're getting back into a new routine, or your old routine. And now is, if you want, is the time to start a new routine. If you're starting to feel mired down, like you're kind of stuck, you're not, you're kind of sick of the same old, maybe you're burned out, maybe you're just, you know, getting bored with things. So now's the time to look at, what if I started a new routine? What would get you jazzed and excited to get back into your business and start really hitting your goals hard? So assess your new schedule. If, you know, kids are back in school, what hours are you going to work on your business now? Other things that are coming up in your life, other changes that need to be made. Sometimes we, you know, get so stuck into what our schedule's supposed to be that when, you know, your life shifts and changes, you don't actually take that into account, and you forget that maybe you need to set a new timeline. This happened to me a couple times, especially, you know, when baby number 1 and the baby number 2 came, things had to change. my schedule, you know, right now the schedule I have with my daycare provider is changing month to month based on when the baby's sleeping. So you need to be open to that, and now's a good time to look at what your schedule should be. Starting new rituals. Rituals can oftentimes get you into a very productive mindset. So sometimes starting a new ritual will help give you more juice and more excitement, again, to get into the day and to be really productive. What is the ritual? Well, for example, you might not realize this, but when you start getting you have a ritual before you go to bed that actually starts triggering your brain to start to fall asleep before you even get into the bed. So you're brushing your teeth, you're changing into your PJs. You start that ball rolling, and it tells your brain, okay, now it's time to sleep. This is really funny because if I start that routine and Evan wakes up, I'll still fall asleep. Even if I'm trying to get him settled, that ship has already sailed, and I will start to fall asleep at the right time that I should be going to bed. It's so funny how that works, and it can work the opposite. If you start a ritual to get yourself tuned in and focused on what it is you need to focus on for the day, your brain will turn on in a different way, and it will kick into productivity mode that will help you really get those creative juices flowing and really start to knock out some of these projects. So think about what that would look like. Is it in the morning you're going to sit on your porch and drink a cup of coffee? Is it you're going to sit at your computer for 5 minutes before you check your email and just look at your project list and what it is you're going to do today? What I usually do is I look at what I have going on. So I look at what I have for clients that day. I look at what projects I have going on over the long term. I have a little like a little chalkboard. It's actually right here. It's this little chalkboard. It's actually a piece of poster board with chalkboard sticker on it, and I write down what needs to be done. That way I can erase things, and it's right there on my desk. It should be hanging up, but it fell. And what this does is I pick 2 or 3 things that I'm going to work on that day that have to get accomplished along with my client work. And what this does is it helps me stay more productive because I'm not thinking about during the day, what it is I should be working on. It's already right there. It's on my list. I call it my, it's like your menu of what it is you're going to do that day. You got to choose. I pick, very manageable pieces. I have to be very gentle with myself sometimes because I would like to do a lot more than is physically possible because I do have, my baby here with me during the day while I'm working for now, for at least the next couple months. So that ritual gets my brain going, gets me thinking about, knowing what I need to do in those pockets of time that I do have a little downtime between client calls. Get my creative juices flowing. If I'm supposed to be writing a blog post today, I've already started to plan it out in my mind before I even get to that afternoon block where I'm actually going to write it. So that for me is a ritual that works. For you, it might be something different. It might be actually taking yourself away from your business. So think about that. What new rituals might help you this fall to really start cranking stuff out? And if you're feeling overwhelmed looking at your list of goals that you need to be accomplishing, let's fix that. So the number 1 cause of overwhelm, this is not my quote, by the way, this is, actually can't remember if it was Matthew Kimberly or Michael Port that coined this term, but basically the number 1 cause of overwhelm is actually just not knowing where to start. If you look at a project or you look at anything that you're feeling like just really overwhelmed about, it's usually just because there's so many things to do that you don't know how, and you don't know how to prioritize them. So this is why projects are really important, and I'm going to tell you how to plan a project and how to pick them. So projects allow you to make an actionable plan, tells you what it is you need to be doing first, breaks things down into bite-sized doable pieces, and you can have small wins to keep you motivated. So that little chalkboard I showed you I have my big picture, these are the projects I'm working on this quarter. So I have my event in December, I'm doing a webinar tomorrow that's short term. I have a couple other webinars or a couple other things that I'm doing throughout the next 3 months. And then I have the to-dos that are associated with each of those. I also use Trello for this. I did a LOBoratory call on Trello in the last couple months, Trello, and that's where like my real product management stuff goes. It's much more in depth than that little chalkboard, but for the day-to-day, the chalkboard works. And when you have those lists, it's easy for you to pick what you need to do that day and keep crossing things off, keep erasing things, and you feel motivated, you feel like you're making progress and getting traction as you go. So let's first talk about what type of projects you're going to be looking at. So a project is something as, so if you look at a goal that you have. So let's say your marketing goal is you want to add 2,000 people to your list this year. Okay, so if we break that down by quarter, that means you need to add 500 people this quarter. What do you need to do in order to do that? Or what is your plan to do that? And what projects are going to execute that plan? So what I might do is, okay, well, I want to add 500 people. So I am going to, I'm already scheduled to do a telesummit and a giveaway, that should add about 200 people. So what can I do to add 300 that I'm missing? Oh, and then you have what you're getting from your website. So let's say we have 200 left that we need to get. Maybe I'll host my own telesummit, or maybe I'll host, do some Facebook ads, or, whatever that strategy is that I'm going to do in order to get those numbers is a project. Because, if I say I'm going to run Facebook ads to bring them into this free offer that, I want to get 200 people into that free offer so that they're on my list, it's not just as easy as going boop, 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 okay, done. No, it's a project. There's multiple steps. There's multiple deliverables that have to be happening along the way. There are set deadlines, and the end result is the Facebook ads, hopefully leading to accomplishing that goal. So the goal itself is not the project. That's what's important here. The goal itself is not the project. The project is what you're doing in an effort to achieve that goal. Does that make sense? So projects have specific deliverables, specific deadlines, and they take multiple steps to complete. And I'll tell you how to break it out of projects, so this will be a little bit clearer. So what you want to do is look at your goals. You're going to be looking at your marketing goals, which are what numbers you want to hit in different areas of your marketing. So list numbers, community numbers, getting a website done, getting this many blog posts done, sales goals, how much of each package do you want to sell? What do you want your close rate to increase? Whatever your sales goals are, operation goals. Do you want to change your schedule because you're finding yourself a little bit burned out and you want to start taking Fridays off? Is there systems that you can be putting in place to make things easier? Do you need to hire someone on your staff? Do you need to train someone on your staff? Do you need to create processes so that you can hire someone on your staff and make that transition go smoothly? There's a lot of different types of projects that you'll be doing to achieve these different goals that you have. But these are the 3 areas of your business that you want to look at least every quarter and set goals in, so that your business can run smoother. You're going to be making more sales. Tracking your sales is really important. Sometimes, things don't feel like they're going very well, but when you actually look at their numbers, they're not as bad as they look. And then marketing goals, same thing. You always need to be marketing, so we need to set the goals for what you're going to achieve in the next couple months. How am I doing on time? Okay. So plan your project wisely. So here is the breakdown of what a project is. So big picture, what do you want to accomplish? So what is the end result of this project? Milestones. What deliverables do you need? So this is taking this big picture project and breaking it down into smaller pieces. And I'm going to give you an example based on a website project. Then there's tasks. So we have the big picture project, milestones, which are kind of like the next level down, and then tasks are what you need to do in order to complete each of those milestones. Those tasks become your to-do list. So those tasks are little bite-sized pieces, and all of these things need to have deadlines. So here's an example. Big picture project, I want to build a new website. Milestones. Actually, this isn't even accurate. What did I do here? So milestones, pretend that find a designer isn't there. That's a to-do. Milestones would be, I need the actual design. I need the, actually no, let's stick with what's here. So find a designer, so hire a designer, the actual website design itself, the content itself, and then all the tech set up for the back-end stuff. So let's look at these milestones as these are big picture steps along the trajectory of building a new website. But all of these things are not accomplished in a sit down and do it. They're not tasks. Finding a designer takes more. It's more than a to-do. I'm not just going to call up a designer and be like, okay, let's do a website. No, you want to research the different designers. You want to look through portfolios. You need to interview designers. You need to find the right person for you. You might have to put together a creative brief for the designer. So there's going to be different steps in there. The design itself, getting the getting the first revision, getting getting headshots done of yourself, getting the colors picked out, or again, the creative brief put together. Like there's a lot of different steps that go into each of these milestones. So the example that I give here is for the content milestones. So you need to plan what offerings are going to be on the site. You need to plan what your opt-in offer title is going to be. You need to write your about page. You need to write your coaching page. This list goes on and on, because if you've ever done a website before, there is way more content that needs to be written than you probably anticipate. So writing your thank you pages and creating your sitemap, there's all these tasks. Each of those tasks can be done in a sitting. If they take multiple steps, then they should be listed as a milestone. So basically, you're just chunking that big project down into smaller and smaller pieces to make it easier to chew. And then what that does is it gives you the starting point so you don't feel so overwhelmed, because you can look at these tasks and pick one to do. Obviously your milestones also are going to be put in sequential order. You need to find a designer before you can actually start creating the design. Does that make sense? So if there's any questions about any of that, definitely either put them in the chat or oh, sorry, someone else said they can see the slides. I thought there was a question there. I was going to answer it. Sorry about that. So if you have questions, put them in the chat or the Q&A. If you're watching this video after the fact, just put it in the comments on the blog. I'm happy to answer them. So warnings, when you're picking your projects, be realistic with what you can handle. It might take you a few failed quarters to figure out what's actually realistic for you. I remember when I started doing this, this quarterly planning, I would pick like 5 different projects, and on paper, they looked totally doable. Put in my deadlines, I put in how much time I'd have each day to do them, and I felt like I was so stinking organized. And about halfway through the quarter, I would realize that I'm really only going to complete one of those projects because I bit off way more than I could chew. So now I know I only do 1 to 2 projects, and I'm talking like big projects, per quarter. So this quarter, all of my attention is being focused on creating my live event in December. That is a big project, lots of milestones, lots of moving parts that need to be done in the meantime. So that's really where all of my outside it's a hard thing to explain. It's like that's where my focus is on my business building activities. Of course, I also have all of my client projects, all of my day-to-day marketing stuff. So all the systems that run my business, they are always going. The webinars I do, the LOBoratory, the other, the blogging, all of the marketing stuff I do is day to day. That doesn't go away. These projects are really in addition to what I'm doing in my day-to-day life. Though I will note that the things that I'm doing day to day now that you guys are seeing, like for instance, these calls, the LOBoratory, these all started off as a project. They were not something, at some point, they were not something I was doing on a regular basis, and I had to schedule out creating a project to be able to create all this. I had to create the slide template, create the branding, create the page, create the opt-in offer, create the follow-up sequence. Every quarter I sit down and I map out my topics. So you guys can see how a project like this can become, it starts off as an undertaking and then becomes something that's day to day. So for example, this morning, you guys received the reminder email probably around 10:15. I literally pulled into my driveway after dropping off Evan at 9:55. So dropped off Evan, I got here at 9:55. I had the email written and out by 10:10. So you guys can see that it just becomes kind of a just a part of your ritual, a part of your routine. Some of them, obviously, you're not going to be doing like websites every day. That would be just nuts. But you might take on marketing projects, or so that would be an operations project, like I was saying, that creating a system to make things really easy for yourself. So recap. It is not too late to achieve those goals you set back in January. That can be done. You can break them down and pick what projects can you do over the next 3 months, let's say 1 or 2, that are going to have the biggest impact on hitting those goals. If you are nowhere near hitting the goals that you created for 2016, what is going to be the biggest impact that, one, is going to make you feel like 2016 was a fan-frickin-tastic year, And what is going to give you a head start for 2017? Now is the time to start looking at next year. And actually, the next LOBoratory that we're going to do in a couple weeks is I'm going to show you my calendar for the next 12 months so that you guys can see what that looks like. So this is the first time I've ever planned things out a year in advance. That is like, I'm usually a fly by the seat of my pants kind of person. I kind of do things as they inspire me, but I have this really, really huge, juicy goal that I want to achieve by around September of next year. It's going to be awesome for everyone involved. And I realized that in order to do that, I actually had to plan out a whole year leading up to that amazing thing that I want to launch. It's something I've been thinking about for years, have never actually, had the chutzpah to actually go for it. So I've hired a coach. Have aligned everything in order to launch it for 12 months. Like, that is a long time to commit to launching something. So I want to share that with you so you guys can see what that looks like, so that you can see, kind of apply some of the same principles to your business. So that's our next LOBoratory. And I realize I'm getting off topic. So back to the recap. It's time for you to intentionally refocus on your business. So it is fall. We're heading into the fourth quarter. It's game time. This is time. This is where you need to finish strong. And now we're coming out of summer. Kids are going back to school. Things are starting to settle down. Now is the time for you to refocus, reassess your rituals, reassess your schedule, and start, getting back into productive mode. And projects are going to help you do that. They're going to help you know what to do next, keep you out of overwhelm, and always know what it is you need to be working on. And new rituals can give you a fresh start and a jump start to your creative juices. So if you're feeling kind of laggy, you're feeling kind of, you want to freshen things up, try doing things a little bit different. Instead of sitting down and drinking your coffee, take a walk around the block. Try just changing things up a little bit. Even just making one change to your morning routine can help you feel like you're getting a fresh start. So I don't see any questions in the chat. Like I said, if you guys have them, you can add them to the comments once the video is posted. So next LOBoratory is on September 28th at 12 noon. And we're going to have a behind the curtain peek at my marketing calendar for the next 12 months. So you guys are actually going to see before it happens what what a rolling launch looks like to launch. I'm going to do a really big launch in next September. So that's a year from now. So I'm going to show you everything that's going to lead into that. That will hopefully bring a snowball effect into this amazing program that I want to start next year. So this will be a really good learning experience for you guys to see what a marketing calendar looks like, as well as, we'll kind of see this unfold real time. So you're going to see the plan, and then you guys are all on my list. You're going to see how this is going to unfold over the next year. And, maybe we'll do some check-in calls to see how things are going, and I'll keep you guys posted, because this is it's a huge shift in me and my business and how I'm looking at how I'm running my business. And it's exciting because it's new and fresh and cool. So I don't see any questions, so I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your week. I will see you on September 28th, and we will talk soon. Bye, everyone.